Hey guys, Thinking Man's Thursday. And today we're going to talk about the value of fantasy and dreams. And this is more going to be a personal value thing rather than relationships. I know I do spend a lot of time talking about relationships and men's roles in relationships and men's roles in society, things like that. Let's have a bit of fun today. So, I'll beat the hell out of that one. And this is actually being spawned by an idea I had to do a collaborative video with my friends, which hopefully you will see in the near future. Hopefully much more quickly than the gun stream. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, is on my channel on Rumble from Wednesday of last week. And it was me and English. Me and Bleach and Bezic just talking about guns. And it was more a case of me asking slightly stupid questions and getting slightly, well, far more educated responses. But just to talk about the value of fantasy and sci-fi and dreams and things like that. One of the things fantasizing does is give you the ability to see yourself in a better situation. Let me just adjust my angle a little bit there. It gives you the ability to see yourself in a better situation. It lets you, in some ways, it lets you goal set. Obviously, it would be unreasonable and irrational to expect that you could become a Jedi, for example. I'm Star Wars nerd. It's my go-to franchise. Still. But in dreaming, we give ourselves the opportunity to foresee possible consequences, to weigh the cost and benefit of a situation. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a Dutch tilt, and I don't like that either. But it gives us the opportunity to envision possibilities for ourselves. And, while some of them are extremely irrational, for example, if you're a younger guy now, you might envision yourself dating someone like, I don't know, Nicki Minaj, or I don't know what's big with the kids. One of the Kardashians, I don't know. Whether you'd want to is beyond me. Those people are more plastic than... Anyway. But, I'm being fidgety. Sorry. When you fantasize about things, you give yourself permission to ignore your limits at the moment. And in giving yourself that permission, you also give yourself sometimes the motivation to push beyond those limits. For example, very sorry, I'm very sniffly this morning. But in a way, you give yourself the ability to dream about what you could be capable of. One moment, I gotta clear this. Okay, sorry about that. That turned into a bit of a thing. I had to clear a bunch of stuff out of my nose because my body was rebelling at the bit of soot that it absorbed while I was doing some test burns last night. The human body is an incredibly wonderful device, machine, but yeah, it can be a little gross. So I do apologize. I should be relatively mucus-free now. But the point that I was on was that dreaming lets you get past your capabilities, or your limited capability, the limits of your capabilities, and envision a point where you no longer have those limitations. So it may be a case of you imagining that you are able to run a marathon, for example. And that may give you the motivation to go, I'd like to try that. Now, in my case, I'm not a marathon guy. I'm far too short and stocky for that. But I can envision having the opportunity to pick up a fencing sword again. Things like that. They're not necessarily outside the realm of possibilities. And with dreaming, with imagination, you have the ability to conceive of yourself in situations that may not be possible. For example, about 3-4 years ago, I wanted to try and learn electric guitar. And when I started with that, it was imagining myself plucking, playing, strumming, whatever term you want to use, an electric guitar. And because of that, I thought about it, and I thought, is that within the realm of my capabilities? With, of course, some expansion of my abilities. And I thought it was. So I tried it. Turns out these hands are not really meant for bending around a fret bar. What are you going to do? I'm going to try a bass, eventually. But if I had not had that imagination, if I had not dreamed that particular dream, I wouldn't have chased it. And that's one of the great things about imagination, fantasization, and dreaming. It gives you the ability to step outside your current situation and go, can I do this? And in a lot of cases, you probably can. One of the things that we're taught when it comes to setting goals is to try to set reasonable, reachable goals. So it would be absolutely silly of my give or take 300-pound, 5'8" ass to think, I can run a marathon next week. No, that'd be retarded. And I use that term very correctly as far as I'm concerned. It would be absolutely retarded of me to think that I could ever run a marathon. It's not going to happen. I smoke. I'm way overweight. Not great. No. Bad. Irrational. But if I dream that I'm building towards a woodworking business, which I am, not so irrational, is it? So, when you perceive of something or conceive of something that you want to try, don't be afraid to follow that logic train. At the very least, even if it's only a thought exercise, even if you only do it in your head, follow it to its logical conclusions. Look at your capabilities. Ask yourself, can I do this? Can I not do this? Why or why not? And when you get to the point that you really feel like you could chase something and have a reasonable degree of success, a reasonable chance of success, go for it. What have you got to lose? You're only going around this world once. We only get to live this life once. I don't care what the Hindus say. Right? And even they agree with me, because you come back as someone or something else if you're reincarnated. But yeah, don't be afraid to sink a little time, effort, and money into something. If you have the time, the effort, and the money to spare, especially. But more than that, if it improves your circumstances, it's absolutely worth a shot. Again, if it's a reasonable goal. If your goal is to open a bookshop or an anti-capitalist cafe in Toronto and have that be a wild success, well, that would be a little unreasonable. If you've been watching Memology 101 lately, you know what I'm talking about. I do love that guy's channel. But more than anything else, there's a line from If, by Rudyard Kipling. If you can dream and not... No. Yes. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, and think but not make thoughts your aim. In other words, if you can visualize things, but not be so wrapped up in the visualization itself, don't allow just the visualization to be the completion. You have to put forth actual time, effort, and money to achieve something. Time and effort are more valuable than money. So if you really spend time on something, it shows where your values are. Now I can hear the garbage truck coming, so before that makes a lot of noise, I'm going to stop here. Tell you guys I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days, and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.